The story begins in the middle of a cornfield. A group of 3 boys and 1 girl wakes up in their van in an unknown location. The group is a broke rock band from Virginia. They call themselves the Ain't Rights. After struggling to get gigs in their local town, they decide to go on a low-budget tour. Their van has run out of gas in the middle of the journey, and they have no money to refill. This is Sam, the only girl in the band. She checks her phone and tells the crew there's a skating rink with a big parking lot just 11 miles away. Pat, the guitarist, takes a bike from the boot and rides with Sam to the parking lot. They manage to siphon enough gas to get their van running again and set off to continue their tour, hoping for better gigs. After hours of driving, they meet a promoter named Tad, who sets up a gig for them at a pizza shop.
Park in the side lot, rear door's tied to the walls.
The next morning, they go to perform at the pizza place, but the gig ends up being a disaster. They only receive $6.80 each and get some free food after performing all day.
The house got theirs, but I didn't.
Split 4 ways at $6 each.
The drummer, Reese, gets upset and attacks Tad. The other band member, Tiger, tells Reese to let go of Tad before he gets them into trouble. They decide to quit the tour and head back home. But Tad tells them he can get them another gig, a bigger one, if they'll let him call his cousin.
I can get you guys a solid gig.
Where?
They change their minds and agree to wait. Later that night, Tad tells them their second gig is secured in a remote, secluded venue in the Oregon woods, known for its neo-Nazi skinhead clientele. Sam asks how much they're getting paid, and Tad tells them $350. The band accepts the gig and sets off for the town.
Lisa Duke can draw.
They arrive at the venue early the next morning, and it's a fortified compound hidden in the woods. They meet the venue's manager, Gabe, a seemingly reasonable but unsettling man. He gives them a stern warning to behave and not cause any trouble. Gabe takes them to a green room backstage and tells them to get ready. The whole place feels creepy, but they aren't going to let the money slip away.
Guys, not creeps.
A few hours later, they begin the show. Despite the hostile atmosphere, the band decides to play a controversial anti-racist song in defiance of the neo-Nazi audience. This infuriates the crowd, but the band makes it through the set without a major incident. The gig is a success, and they get paid in full. The band finally has its first successful gig.
And it's all there. And you guys follow me? Okay.
As they are about to leave, Sam remembers she left her phone charging in the green room. Pat tells them to keep going, and he'll get it for her. He heads back to the room, but what he sees inside changes everything. As he enters, he sees a young girl called Emily lying dead on the floor, with a knife in her head and 2 skinheads in the room trying to clean up the crime.
You call the cops.
Fuck that.
Panicking, Pat dials 911, but as he tries to run from the room, he bumps into Gabe. He takes the phone from Pat and calmly tells the band to relax.
It's okay, don't worry. Just get back.
They are taken back to the green room, where a girl has been killed. Gabe tells them the police are on their way, so they don't need to worry. Reese tells Gabe they can't keep them there. But Gabe says the police are coming, and they'll be out soon. It isn't long before the band realizes they're being held hostage, along with another girl, Amber, whose friend has been killed. Very soon the police did arrive, but Gabe paid one young skinhead to stab another to create a cover story for the police, who responded to Pat's call.
You the victim?
Yes, officer.
Kneel down, both of you, ankles crossed.
The police take them away. The owner of the place, Darcy, arrives, and they explain the situation to him. Gabe returns to the green room and calls one of the skinheads out, leaving the other skinhead, known as Big Justin, behind with a gun to watch over them. Darcy talks with Gabe outside while they search the band's vehicle. He asks Gabe to check the phone's call logs and emails to see if they've contacted anyone besides the police, saying they need to find a solution to the situation as soon as possible. One of Darcy's men finds the hose the band has been using to siphon gas for their van.
Okay. This is good.
Back in the green room, the group begins to panic. They try to attack Big Justin, but he pulls a gun on them. Gabe starts knocking on the door and orders them to open it, but the band didn't want the door open. He tells Big Justin not to shoot and asks him to remove the bullets from the gun and hand it over to the band.
Do not shoot them.
Me.
Take the bullets out. Just hand it over now.
Justin removes the bullets and hands the gun to them. Gabe promises it's over and urges them to open the door, but they still refuse and demand to know where the cops are. The owner of the place, Darcy, begins negotiating with them from outside.
Gentlemen, I'm the owner.
He tries to persuade them to open up, but Amber warns it's a trap. Reese tells Darcy they won't open the door until the police arrive.
Thank you, but we opened the door for the police.
They decide to attack Big Justin. Reese manages to restrain him, and they take the bullets. Darcy gets upset that his plan didn't work and tells his men they will have to finish them here and stage it up the road. Their plan here is to get rid of them without making it look like a murder. Darcy goes to the bar to close the party and asks everyone to leave the place.
That backup Jenny's fired up, but we're gonna have to call it a day. Do some troubleshooting. We'll try again.
He then returns and begins to negotiate with the band again through the door.
Can you hear me if I speak at this volume?
Yes.
He tells them the gun they have in there is not registered and asks them to hand it over to him to get rid of it before the cops return. The band isn't sure if what he's saying is true, but at this point they are confused and have no idea what to do.
Well, that's what concerns us, man.
Just want that gun.
Amber says they should ask for a phone in return for a gun. Pat tells Darcy they will only swap the gun for a phone.
We'll give you the gun for a cell phone.
Sorry, no.
Okay, well, how about a registered firearm?
But he refuses and tells them that if they don't hand over that gun, things won't end well for them. After a moment of hesitation, they agree. On the condition that they keep the bullets, Darcy agrees to it. As Pat opens the door to hand over the gun, Amber peeks through an air vent and sees some of the skinheads standing outside with guns and fight dogs and immediately realizes they're being lied to. Darcy and his men attempt to force their way in while slashing at Pat's arm.
They're killing us. Keep the gun!
They manage to close the door, but Pat loses the gun and is seriously injured. The band now knows that if they leave the room, they will be killed. Big Justin attempts to attack them, but Reese manages to choke him unconscious, and Amber slashes his stomach open with the box cutter. On the outside, Darcy calls in more of his men and tells them to finish the job as quickly as possible and instructs them not to use guns on them. Darcy doesn't want any bullet wounds. He plans to stage their deaths later to look like an accident and then allow the police to find their body later to prevent any further investigation. Back in the room, the band tears up the floorboards and discovers a drug lab under the bar. One of the reasons Darcy doesn't want the cops around, they look for a way out of the lab, but the only exit is locked from the outside. They climb back up and Tiger wraps a tape around Pat's injured arm to help stop the bleeding. They decide to arm themselves and fight their way out. When they open the door, the place appears empty. Thinking Darcy and his men are gone, they venture outside toward the bar, but Darcy's men are still hiding inside. One of them suddenly appears and unleashes a fighting dog, which attacks Tiger. They tried to help him, but couldn't. Tiger gets mauled to death by the dog. Amber, Pat, and Sam run away. Reese sees a loose window and escapes, but as soon as he steps out, he is stabbed to death by one of Darcy's men. Back inside, the dog chases Amber, who manages to get behind a metal gate, but the dog gets a hold of her foot. Pat amplifies the mic in the bar, and the feedback sound drives the dog away. The three of them manage to escape and run back to the green room. Now, only Pat, Sam, and Amber are left. On the outside, two of Darcy's men, Daniel and Alan, ask Darcy to send them in to finish the job. Darcy gives them knives and sends them inside. They go straight to the door and force it open. Daniel enters and finds Emily lying dead on the floor and asks who killed her.
Which one did it?
Worm did it.
Bullshit.
What did they tell you?
It turns out Emily is Daniel's girlfriend, and the skinheads lied to him about her death. They had told him the band killed her, but Amber explains to him that one of Darcy's men, named Worm, murdered Emily after discovering she and Daniel planned to leave the skinhead life. On the outside, Darcy grows suspicious of Daniel and asks Gabe why he didn't want Daniel to go in there. Gabe explains that Emily and Daniel were dating, and they didn't want him to find out the truth about her death. Hearing this, Darcy searches the trunk of Daniel's car, where he finds Daniel and Emily's belongings, indicating that they were planning to escape. Darcy immediately sends more of his men inside, this time with guns, as he realizes he's running out of time. Back in the room, Daniel decides to help them escape, as revenge for what they did to his girlfriend. As they venture back out into the bar, they meet Darcy's bartender on their way, who shoots Daniel in the face. Pat attacks the bartender with Daniel's knife and slashes his throat. They take the shotgun from him and run back.
We have the gun.
Daniel was their only chance of surviving, and now he's dead. Pat suggests they go outside since they now have a gun. They all agree and decide to head outside. As soon as they step out, things take a wrong turn. Clark unleashes one of the dogs, and Sam tries to shoot it with the shotgun, but she misses her target and gets mauled to death by the dog. Amber and Pat manage to escape the attack alive and run back to the room. They are now the only ones left. With all hope lost, Pat and Amber formulate a plan for a last stand. Amber suggests they treat this as just a paintball game and enjoy their last moment before they die.
Let's pretend.
With the sun rising soon, Darcy has most of the skinheads disperse, taking Clark and Alan with him to stage the band's deaths. Gabe prepares to clean up the bar, while two of Darcy's men, Jonathan and Kyle, are dispatched with another dog to finish off Pat and Amber. When Darcy's men get inside, Pat and Amber again use the microphone feedback to scare off the dog. Jonathan and Kyle break down the door and force their way in.
Hey, down there, you dipshit fashion punk clown motherfuckers! Turn around!
They see Pat standing there with his back turned to them and shout at him to kneel, but he quickly jumps down into the drug lab. Their plan is to lure one of them to follow Pat down there. Jonathan takes the shotgun, which has only 3 shots left, and jumps down, leaving Kyle at the top to watch his back. It turns out Amber is hiding under the cushions of the couch. Down there, Jonathan freaks out and tells Kyle to go get Gabe to help them.
Man, we need 2 down here and 1.
But before Kyle could do anything, Amber slowly sneaks out and cuts his throat with the box cutter.
Watch it!
All they have to do now is lure Jonathan to use all 3 shots from his gun.
He's got 3 shots left!
Jonathan calls out for Gabe, but he can't hear him due to the noise. He takes a second shot at Pat, but misses, and now has only 1 shot left.
1 shot left!
That was his last shot.
0.
Pat gets hold of the shotgun and tries to reload it, but Jonathan sees him and attacks him. As they struggle over the gun, Amber sneaks down and shoots Jonathan in the head. Gabe enters the green room and sees Amber and Pat climbing out of the lab with a shotgun and surrenders. Amber asks him if anyone else is outside, and he says no. They hold him at gunpoint and ask him to take them to where Darcy is.
Are you gonna shoot me?
As they approach Darcy's house, Pat and Amber decide to go after him. They spare Gabe and ask him to go to the nearby farm to call the authorities. Amber and Pat get closer and see Darcy with Clark and Alan. Pat sneaks behind the van and manages to get Alan at gunpoint, and Amber also manages to get Clark's dog at gunpoint.
I got the dog.
Amber asks Clark to tie the dog to the gate, and Pat asks Alan to throw his gun on the floor. They hold both of them at gunpoint and take them into the yard. Pat realizes Darcy and his men were trying to stage the incident to make it look like the band was killed while trespassing on his property.
The cloth is to make a seal. I wouldn't do it like that.
Clark tries to run at Amber, but he's shot dead immediately.
Listen.
Darcy tries to flee, but both he and Alan are shot dead by Pat and Amber. Gabe reaches the nearest town and asks a resident to call the police.
We need the police.
Pat and Amber sit there, exhausted, and wait for the police to arrive. Their low-budget tour became a nightmare, and in the end, Pat became the only survivor of the band.
I know what it is.
No taxi, no call. Only 2 beers, then I go home. No taxi, no call. Only 22 beers, then I go home.